AI is going to get 1,600 times better within 2 years. Does it bring a lot of disruption and potentially a lot of harm? Sure, but the most up-to-date AI updates that's applicable for lawyers. The first one is the Singularity conference. It was an AI conference, one of the most popular AI conferences in the world. I attended 3 days of it. So while everyone else was working, I was sitting there listening in throughout the entire day. Took a lot of good notes, a lot of stuff that I think that are going to be very crucial for us as lawyers to know what's going on. So the first insights will be from that conference. Second was just last week, OpenAI had the huge announcement about their latest model. I'll be sharing about exactly what ChatGPT 4 is, how it's going to help us run our law firms. And the third resource is just a day later after OpenAI's announcement was actually Google's AI releases. An assortment of releases that came, actually 44 new updates, but I'm going to summarize that for you and kind of give you literally the most up-to-date updates that's applicable for lawyers. I'm not sure where it was, but most of the attendees were virtual. So from what I know, that hundreds of attendees, very high level. And for me, as I was listening in, everything was just like, how am I going to apply this to law? How am I going to apply this to the legal space? So let's go through it. The first big insight that I got was the importance of the law of accelerating returns. The law of accelerating returns. And what that says is that most of our perspectives as humans and the way that our brain works is very in a linear fashion. We think in linear terms. Even they had some scientific research with that even our DNA is made in linear form. But instead, technology has brought about exponential change. And basically our mind can't even wrap around the quickness of that change. And so we can never anticipate, as much as we like to anticipate the change, our minds are just not meant and created to anticipate the change. So whatever you assume is going to change, just multiply that by 10 times faster. So some quick little data is like AI is going to get 1,600 times better within 2 years. When you hear that, you're like 1,600 times, like there's no way that your brain can fathom what that means. And that's exactly what AI brings. This unfathomable, quick changes constantly. That's exponential. Second idea was big common theme with the conference was don't fear it. Lean towards it. Understand how AI works and understand that AI also creates opportunities. Harness AI to help solve our most pressing problems. So kind of, having your right perspective towards AI. Does it bring about a lot of disruption and potentially a lot of harm? Sure. But I think if we focus our attention and our efforts into the opportunities that it brings, I think that's where it could be really life-changing. The next kind of important note was data, the importance of data, and that essentially data is the asset. And if you have a unique data set, some kind of unique data set, and that could be data set that's maybe applied for your law firm. Maybe you have something that you know about your clients or your prospects. That is what makes AI valuable. So start thinking about that is what data do I have, whether it be in your law firm or what I've been doing is I've been building on my personal data of resources of information that I've built up. I put it all into Evernote because I know when Evernote has a huge AI update, I'm able to tap into my personal data and pull out some insights that maybe even ChatGPT doesn't have. Along with that, there was a lot of stuff about how to evaluate AI investments. Just very quickly for people that are considering getting into AI companies, essentially investors want to evaluate based on 3 things. Number 1 is they want to evaluate the problem. How big is the problem that you're solving? Is the problem growing? Is the problem something that people urgently need now? Is it something that's a need versus a want? What's the cost of this problem? What's the quantity of this problem? The frequency of this problem? So all about how big is the problem that you're looking to solve with AI. Number 2 is what's the potential solution to this problem that you're trying to resolve? Is the problem clearly stated? Is it narrowly defined? Do you have first experience with this solution? Is it solvable by you? Are customers willing to pay for it? So kind of tapping into what the potential is. Third is, what's your unfair advantage when it comes to what you're building out? Do you have a special talent, special data, special product Is there a special monopoly? Is there some special network effect when it comes to this? And, for me, I know somehow whatever I do going forward has to have an AI component in there. Has to. It's a requirement. I'm not willing to do any new business unless somehow it has some kind of advantage to it. Besides that, there was also, they shared that younger entrepreneurs will be entering the space because it kind of lowers the barrier of entry, and there'll be an increase in fractional founders. These are people that are going to launch startups while they're in school or while they have jobs. And a lot of times, it was one or the other. You're either working on a startup or you have a job, or, if you have your own business. But now there's kind of like a mix of these types of people who are kind of doing both at the same time. The other kind of practical for lawyers AI kind of line that I heard was AI creates a lot of problems with evidence and prosecutions. So yes, they were very straight up to say, yes, this will be a huge issue when it comes to making sure that evidence is what it is. Is it real? Is this evidence real, or was it manufactured by AI? And yes, it will cause a lot of issues with false prosecutions and things like that. And there is a lot of potential manipulation with AI. And I think it's very important to not just, again, to learn about the opportunities, but also understand how it could be manipulated so that obviously we're not taken advantage of.